There we go. Let's get Facebook in here, rocking and rolling. We can start the show, talk a little bit of Broncos football, AFC Championship game, and we're live all across the board. Welcome in, welcome in. It's Tuesday night, the 20th of January already. Man, it feels like it was we're almost a month past Christmas already. It's unbelievable. Time flies. I'm Nick Kendell, joined by Carl Dumler. This is Building the Broncos. Carl, how are you doing tonight? Man, what a great game. A mix of emotions, obviously, but what a great game on Saturday.
I really wish Sean had given us just one night to celebrate. Part of me, like, I get it. He wanted the players to hear it from him, not from Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
But man, having 45 minutes of just pure bliss. I watched the game with my wife and kids. I'd made this huge playoff spread of food. I didn't hardly eat any of it because I was so nervous watching the game. But, just jumping up for joy with my kids, yelling, screaming. People around town were like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure we heard you guys yelling from your house." And then, like I said, 45 minutes later, in our group chat that we have, somebody put in, I can't remember who it was like, Bo Nix broke his ankle, out for the season. And it's like, it really felt like somebody just came by and punched me in the gut. And not that I don't think that they can, I still think they got a good chance to go win this game. Mm-hmm. They've got plenty of defensive players. It's at home. He might be getting J.K. Dobbins back. Maybe you'll have a run game.
Wattenberg.
Wattenberg could be back. Stidham's not the worst backup out there by any means. He can go out there and have himself a good game. But still, the idea of Drake May versus Bo Nix, opportunity to go to the Super Bowl. I know they're not playing against each other per se in that sense, but still, there's something to say about that. And to have that taken away, it's devastating to see. And so, yeah, like I said, it's bittersweet. Mm-hmm. I loved it that we won, and it was a great game. And it was easy to see Buffalo was probably the worst opponent for us to have in the playoffs. I mean,
maybe we can be honest. On the AFC side.
Yeah, on the AFC side, I should say. Seattle is not a good matchup for us in any sense of that. So we'll see who gets the Super Bowl. But I saw a couple questions about that, and we'll get to the comments here in just a minute. But the fact the Broncos were able to still come out with a win, what was pretty awesome to see, and for Bo Nix to outduel Josh Allen like that. Mm-hmm. And I kind of love, there's one media guy today who hates Bo Nix. And he was talking about it, and he goes, when the Bills had to kick a field goal, he said, my first thought was, Bo Nix is going to go tie this game up. He's like, and it was in that moment when I all of a sudden thought that, I was like, oh crap, this is actually a good quarterback. If that's my thought.
I'm sorry to say that.
It was Nick Wright.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, he's hated Bo Nix. He's been for a couple years now saying that he's going to be gone from the league here in just a couple years. And he said that was the moment that he was like, crap, I have to admit this guy's a good quarterback. If that's what I'm thinking in the biggest moment, he's going to go down and score. That means something. And so, and the fact that he did, and like I said, just have that end the way that it did with the injury and stuff after he goes down and wins it in overtime like that. And it stinks. I know Buffalo Bills fans are complaining about the officiating, but I'm kind of like, we'd still have our quarterback if they'd called a holding penalty. Spencer Brown, after the game, he was talking about, and they were asking about the officiating. He said, I held Jonathan Cooper like crazy through the entire game. They didn't call it. He's like, so I was a little bit shocked when they started calling penalties, but it's like, you knew you were doing penalties. Yeah, you just were like, well, they're just letting us get away with it. Yeah. And I get it as a player standpoint, like you're going to try to toe that line of what can I get away with? What can I not? But still, like I said, that holding penalty, we still have our quarterback. If they'd called that safety, the holding in the end zone, and we'd be talking about Bo Nix versus Drake May.
But to your point earlier, Carl, it's not Bo Nix versus Drake May. It's the Broncos versus the Patriots. And the Broncos are putting out all the signals that they have a lot of confidence in their quarterback. I mean, I absolutely love, I say every show now, I'm so Sean Payton pilled, and he may be an a-hole, but he's our a-hole, copying Scott on that one, as he always used to say. But he came out immediately and be like, oh yeah, we have full, you could have just given, the PR corporate answer, we have full faith. We brought him in, blah, blah, blah. He said, just watch. Like, he is going to be good. And I know that from the players that are going against him in practice as well. I mean, Jarrett Stidham can sling it now. He was a backup quarterback for a reason. And the spread is what, 5.5 now? Even gone towards the Patriots more, which, I mean, how could you bet on this game? It's just such an unknown variable all around. I would probably spring on the Broncos, but Broncos beat them. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm not surprised. Jarrett Stidham, moment's too big for him and they get beaten. They just can't complete enough passes. Like, well, what do you expect? He's a backup quarterback who hasn't played meaningful football since 2023. So we'll see how it plays out. But to answer one question, Carl, that we've had on the show, we teased it a few times. This season's been a success, and it's just house money from here for the Broncos. And they have a chance to do something miraculous and something that probably more miraculous than the 2015 Super Bowl when they carried the corpse of Peyton Manning to the Super Bowl. I mean, this would be up there, if not surpass it. But it's it'll be wild to follow. And I'm just really excited for the game on Sunday. And I'm also excited to have Papa Bear come in here. David Mickelrath, good to see a $2 super chat. He says, good evening, Broncos country, #17-3. Let's get one more and we'll see where it goes from there. But appreciate you, Papa Bear. We also got $2 coming in from E-Dude Music saying, how loud do we expect the crowd to be? I expect them to be pretty loud. I mean, I don't know. They obviously do a good job with the cameras where they're not bolted like into the ground, right? So like otherwise they would be like really shaking. But even some of the ones where it was an obvious like a cameraman on the field, like zooming in on the coach's film kind of angle, like on the quarterback, you could see the camera shaking, and I expect it to be shaking again. Now I know the ticket market, secondhand ticket market, whatever you call it, dropped a bit after the Bo Nix injury news, which not shocking. But I've also seen, I don't know if you've seen the Patriots fans peeing and emming about it. Moaning is being the second word. I can say that one on here. Or not, maybe not. I don't know. But but they're not selling tickets. There's like a geo area where you can only buy them from. So like if you're in Boston trying to buy tickets on, I believe, Ticketmaster, you can't buy the AFC Championship game, at least at this point. I'm not sure exactly how it proceeds, if there's still some available. I'm sure the demand is way higher than the supply, so not a problem. But I expect it to be pretty darn loud. And the fans are going to, the Broncos make the Super Bowl. The fans are 100% a key reason that this happened. Having the home field advantage and the fans making Drake May and that offensive line's life hell.
Yeah, I saw a stat earlier, and it said something like since the year 2000, there's only been 2 times that an edge guy had 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Both have happened against the Patriots this year with Campbell at left tackle. Nick Bonito getting that little bit of step, that could be the difference of him getting that strip sack. And if we can get turnovers like we did last week and limit our turnovers, not be the CJ Stroud handing them, 5 interceptions?
Ridiculous.
When you can throw the ball into the ground every single snap and have a higher quarterback rating, that's not a good game. I mean, somebody asked the question, like, maybe we should investigate Stroud for putting money on the Patriots to win that game. God.
He looked bad. I don't know about that.
I don't either, but still,
there
it is. I knew I'd read it somewhere here earlier today. And so, like I said, real opportunity for Nick Bonito to go out there and do something big in this game and become even more of a legend in Broncos history. Von Miller's got that history. Nick Bonito could start getting his name mentioned among those like top 3 greatest edge players in Broncos history if he goes out and wreaks havoc from that edge position. And I really think he's going to have himself a good game. And, I saw somebody earlier ask that question of like, what was our problem on defense against the Bills? They're big. This defense struggles against big bully offensive lines. Patriots don't have that. They're a little bit more finesse in how they go about their business. And I do think some of their guys are playing out of position. We talked about earlier before we ever got on the show of probably Campbell should be inside, not playing tackle, but he's there right now. And so that's something the Broncos really have to take advantage of. Like you said, especially being at home, this is where you have the biggest plus compared to what they are. And Drake May, I think he's in 2 games, he's taken 15 sacks already here in the playoffs.
One thing I will point out about Drake May's sacks, and I've been a Drake May fan since his sophomore year of college, but while he does like take a lot of sacks count wise, they're always for like 1 or 2 yards. So like they don't have the same effect as like, Russell Wilson trying to bail out the backside of the pocket, and next thing you know is a 15-yard sack. He does a really good job of climbing. So he will get tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and that's great. But obviously a 15-yard sack is a lot different than a 1-yard sack.
Right.
So we'll see. It's going to be a fascinating matchup, obviously. And I'm going to be really curious to see how the Patriots come out and play the Broncos on both sides of the ball. They're going to be a little bit more conservative considering what the offensive line of the Patriots has looked like the last couple of weeks. Drake May also putting the ball in harm's way a bit more, strip sacks and everything like that. And on the defense, they've been very much a man-oriented team. They have one of the best man cornerbacks in football in Gonzalez from Oregon by way of CU. So shout out to them for that. But will they go more zone? I mean, Sean Payton and Jarrett Stidham, I think they can probably dial up some man coverage beaters. But zone is a little bit more on the quarterback to pick through and find the right spot. So we'll see. It's gonna be absolutely fascinating. We got Ralph. Don't think the Patriots offense has much of a chance against the Broncos. Stidham needs to be better than CJ. Yeah, I always come back to this, and it's kind of, if you guys have been following me long enough, football is a complex game, but it's very silly, stupid at the end of the day too. Protect the football, take the ball away, and win on the line of scrimmage. You're going to win 95% of the games. Obviously, there's, pass like third down and red zone conversion. Like you have a big special teams turning play. Sure. If you win along the lines of scrimmage and you win the turnover battle, you're winning the freaking football game. And that's something I think this Broncos team can do. They obviously emphatically won the turnover battle against the Bills. And I mean, that's the reason that we're here today, Carl, talking about the Broncos and the Patriots. Without that +4 in the turnover differential, Denver does not win. They don't even force a freaking punt. They get 5 takeaways. +4. I mean, I think the stats of being +4 in your winning percentage is like, I think teams who have a +4 win 96, 97% of the time. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's just stealing possession. Yeah. So protect the football, take the freaking ball away, and win along the lines of scrimmage. And if you understand that, you kind of understand a lot of my personal ethos of team building as well. Like wide receivers are fun. I know you wide receiver guy as well, Carl. I don't give a hoot about it if you're getting your what pushed in along the line of scrimmage. And Denver's defense, to some extent in the run game, did on Saturday. So luckily you're not coming against a hulking offensive line and power run game for these Patriots. Denver's going to have to limit the explosives. That's probably the big key for this one on the defense. Drake May will push the ball. And Travion Henderson, I mean, I think he had more explosive touchdown runs than any rookie in like the last 15 years or something. But can they do this stuff down to down? We'll see. But thank you so much, Ralph. We got some more super chats coming in here. Oh, that was a super chat. Thank you so much, Ralph. Also, Phil, good evening. Nick, Carl, and Deacon Scott. No matter what happens, this has been a fantastic season. If the Deacon finally play like they did before the break, we got a chance. They don't even have to play like they did before the break. Can we get another 5 takeaway game? I mean, God, I was elevated, levitated during that, even though they were getting, pushed in a bit on the run game and couldn't stop Josh Allen on like 3rd and 2 or less anytime, which who can? But I was feeling pretty good about the takeaways.
Yeah, you've always got to feel good when your team's getting 5 takeaways. And I mean, like I said, we don't win that game without them, because otherwise the defense was just getting completely obliterated. And it's about the only way that they could get a stop was to get a turnover. So hopefully we get to see that again this week. Drake May, not great at holding on to the ball. He does hold it out there just like Josh Allen. And so we'll see about that. Maybe he can throw a couple picks towards our way. He forces a couple throws. He is known to do some of that. And
Carl, you know what?
We'll just have to say about that. Go ahead.
I was going to say, talking, though, about turnovers has got me thinking food. And that has me thinking about our buddies over at Goldbelly.
That's right, guys. Have you ever heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where you can get the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants all across the U.S. And it's perfect for game day, Valentine's Day, or anything else you have going on. Guys, this is seriously amazing. Goldbelly will ship you iconic Chicago deep dish pizza from Lou Malnetti's, the original Buffalo wings from Anchor Bar in Buffalo, Guy Fieri's, unbelievable trash can nachos, real Philly cheesesteaks, or even the legendary Franklin's barbecue straight from Texas to your door. And with Valentine's Day coming up, they also have great gifts like award-winning dinners from Pete Luger's Steakhouse, world-famous macaroons from Luderay, and even the exact cake served at JFK's wedding to Jackie O.
Well, now that the Bills are in the hindsight, I got my eyes on those original Buffalo wings that you mentioned from Anchor Bar out there in Buffalo. We can support them now that the Bills, maybe they're still crying. I don't know. Maybe we can use their tears instead of ranch or blue cheese, whatever you guys are. But man, it sounds delicious. Always high quality grub delivered to your door. And it always lives up to the lofty expectations anyone has when you're thinking about true, authentic Buffalo wings. It's just like having Pizza Buffalo brought to Denver, which is okay now after the game. You always get quality food you don't always get quality food from online ordering sites, but Goldbelly always delivers and it always tastes amazing. So whether you're looking to turn game day into an unforgettable experience with friends or want to impress a loved one with Valentine's Day coming up, go to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code MileHigh. That's goldbelly.com, code MileHigh for 20% off of your first order. Awesome. Shout out to Goldbelly. Thank them so much. We got some more folks coming in here. Denver Luke, always good to see you. Chase in here. Appreciate you. What went wrong with the defense? They were getting blown back on the line of scrimmage. It wasn't so much, we'll have time to talk about things, but it wasn't so much the interior defensive line as it was issues with the edges and the linebackers. It just is what it is. I mean, I really respect the guy. He's a great player. Jonathan Cooper's not been playing good football since the bye week. He just hasn't been. And Ellis had a really bad game as well. And Greenlaw hasn't looked like San Francisco Greenlaw ever since I brought him in, which not shocking. But you don't really have that. He doesn't have the speed and explosiveness that he used to have. I guess we'll put it that way.
He's had two memorable moments this season. And that's, two great memorable moments. One really terrible memorable moment of him getting suspended.
Yeah.
But the goal line stand against Houston and then the big interception that he had.
Yeah.
Those were the only two really big time positive things that I can think of. And it's why right before the game, I think Mike Kliss had tweeted out something about, hey, it looks like Sternad's going to start this game. I was like, okay, I think we got a chance. I don't mean to speak ill of Greenlaw, but I think right now Sternad's the better starter. He's been a very quality guy out there for them. And like I said, the linebackers, there was times where they were getting out of position. Buffalo Bills did a lot of good work of making your eyes look in multiple directions. You know, having a guy cutting across where you don't know if they're going to run a jet sweep. You don't know, is Josh Allen going to hold on to it? Is he handing it off? And so you've got almost like this three-way look of where the ball's trying to go. It's kind of old school, high school, where you got almost the wishbone. And, you know, we used to play a team that they'd have their running backs out almost as tight ends, and they'd have them cut across, and the quarterback would be standing there, and you'd have to tackle all three of them every single play because you never had any clue who had the ball. And there's one play you're talking about, Jonathan Cooper, where he got caught in a blender. He had no clue where to go. Did Josh Allen have it? Did the running back have it? And he just kind of stood there, and the running back just ran right by him. And it was just kind of that way where that confusion was happening. Now, thankfully, Patriots don't do that as much. There's not going to be as much things going on in the run game. Like I said, it's the explosives. They'll have a lot of 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard carries, and then all of a sudden a 50-yard carry. You cannot have that happen in this game. You have to keep that run game under ropes, and then the explosive plays in the pass game. Houston did a great job the entire game, other than like 3 passes where they allowed these big plays over the top. Now, thankfully, against the Bills, I think Josh Allen went 0 for 9 on passes of 20 yards or further and threw 2 picks. We need that again.
Very possible. Drake May will sling the ball out there. And one thing also I will say, just from the defense in Vance Joseph, Hufanga's been incredible for the Broncos this season. When Denver's been playing in one high safety shells, teams have been targeting Hufanga in coverage or Singleton. They're still useful players. The ball's got to go somewhere, and the other guys on the other side are paid to coordinate and get guys open and try to, prod spots as well. And Hufanga in coverage has not been ideal. So I'll be curious to see if we see more too high coverage, cover 2, cover 4, rather than, cover 1, cover 3 that you've seen a lot from Denver, considering those weaknesses that we've seen somewhat. But it was a tough matchup for the Broncos. And they, again, you took the ball away 5 freaking times. And they were not all gimmies either. You took the ball away. That counts for something. Yeah. So we don't want to sit here and you won the game because of the defense in large part. Now, they were in it because of the defense for a large part too, but still, it's still a good defense. Is it the 2015 defense? No. Is it as good of a defense as what we saw from the Texans or the Seahawks this season? Probably not. But guess what? You got 2 games left to change the narrative. And right now it's about, again, winning along the freaking lines of scrimmage and winning the GD turnover battle. Michael Ronquillo coming in, $5. Run the ball and play action with Jarrett Stidham to open up the deep ball throws for touchdowns. Yeah, I'll be really curious to see what the Patriots do defensively. They're much more of a man-oriented team, not a lot of disguise in their coverages when they have a cornerback like they do. I do think they'll probably be aggressive with their pass rush. I'm guessing they're going to be sending bodies, just kind of test Stidham getting hit and how he is, what he plays like when he's a little bit more under duress. And that's obviously Bo Nix's superpower as a quarterback, is avoiding those sacks and those negative plays. So I don't know. We'll see for that. But one thing I will say about going to Jarrett Stidham instead of Bo Nix is it's going to force Sean Payton to run the football and run the football at the running backs. Now, is that going to be a good thing? I don't know, but I'm looking forward to a little bit more balance, because I always thought the pass distribution on top of using Bo Nix as a designed runner was not sustainable. I right. In the playoffs, got to leave it all out there, whatever in the water boy, right? The last game of the year, got to leave it all on the field. But I think that hopefully we find a little bit more down-to-down success and commitment to the run game.
If J.K. Dobbins is back this week, what do you think are the realistic expectations for him returning from injury?
I think you're probably talking about 15 snaps, 10 carries for hopefully 5 yards per clip. I think Wattenberg, honestly, is as big of a conversation for that as well, because he's been playing pretty well. But I don't know. We'll find out a lot more tomorrow on Wednesday. It does sound like he's going to be back out there. What does that look like following the Linsfranc injury? I always get the spelling of that one correct. But we'll see. But boy, I just hope that they are able to find a little bit more balance just to protect Stidham and the offensive line somewhat.
Yeah, and keep the ball out of Drake May's hands. I mean, like I said, Broncos don't win this game if Jarrett Stidham is dropping back 40 times in this game.
No way.
I think you've got to shoot for keeping him under 30 pass attempts if you really think this offense is going to be able to move. And like I said, you're hoping that it does make you commit more to the run game, lean into those guys. I think that might have been one of my bigger frustrations there at the end of the game. If you're just going to have somebody move it to the left side of the line of scrimmage to maybe have a better chance at a field goal, have it be your running back. Don't make your quarterback take another hit, and I get both running backs had fumbled earlier in the game. So maybe it's that trust factor of, I only trust Bo Nix to have the ball in his hands. I think we've seen that ever since J.K. Dobbins went down, that Sean Payton doesn't really trust anybody else. And it's
trust Pat Bryant.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But still, it just at some point, especially now, your guy's down. You're going to have to put your trust in these other guys and just say, hey, everybody has to raise their level even one more step because our guy's down. Defense, you guys got to be able to keep them under 20 points. Offense, you got to be able to make the right plays. Receivers, catch the passes when they're there. We're not in overtime if little Jordan Humphrey doesn't drop an easy touchdown. It doesn't get much easier than that. And maybe the sun was in his eyes. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, but still, you're paid to make that kind of catch. And so those kind of things, everybody else has to make that step up. You cannot have those little mistakes that add up to big things at the end of the game. Bo Nix was able to cover a lot of that stuff up because it was like, oh, well, we dropped one there. He can go pick up this third down play now and we'll be fine. That's probably not happening with Stidham. But we got Roy Osborne coming in saying, good evening, Nick and Carl and all of Broncos. Good to see you, Roy. And
yeah, good to see you, Roy. We got Go ahead.
Oh, DB coming in saying, ain't nothing like a Stiddy party. That's the great thing. He goes and wins 2 games. That guy is Broncos legend for the next 100 years. He should never move away from Denver for the rest of his life because he'll never have to pay for a meal, never have to pay for a drink. Heck, somebody might just go buy him a house in town and say, hey, stay here in Denver. This is the Stiddy house. I mean, that's how big that would be. It's like Nick Foles with the Eagles and how much his run meant for them. And I love that Nick Foles tweeted out something about that. Hey, backup quarterbacks, they can beat the Patriots. And so we got Ralph coming and say, I feel opposite of you, Carl Dumler. I want May to have the ball because he's cocky and will test PS2 to his demise. He might. I mean, May's going to have the ball. I'm just saying probably the goal in this game is limit the number of drives that your opposing team has. A little bit of how the Broncos played the last couple games of the season, where you're trying to keep them under 8 drives for the game. If you can do that, you probably stand a pretty decent chance of keeping it close and maybe in the fourth quarter being able to get something figured out. But if you're doing everything quick, if you're having these 3 and outs and letting Drake May go out there, yeah, he might have a couple turnovers, but then he's probably also going to have a couple explosive plays that are going to lead to kind of what happened against Houston, 28-16 kind of game.
Yeah. We will see. It'd be great if PS2 could join in on that. I'm imagining just how the Patriots personnel lines up. You're going to see PS2 on, I can never pronounce the name right, Butte? Keyshawn? From Boot, whatever. I've read it 10,000 times and haven't heard it much, so it's kind of stuck in my head that way. And then they're going to try to isolate Diggs as much as possible as a slot and a Z. We'll see what Denver's move is. I mean, Keyshawn is much more of the X body type. He had that unbelievable touchdown catch in that game against Houston. If Diggs is beating them, maybe they'll switch something up. I'm hoping that the refs swallow their whistles like they did, though, as well. Shout out to Riley Moss for finally having a 50-50 one not go against him. So appreciated that from the refs. Did want to say hello to some more folks coming in. E-Dude Music saying Nick Benito demand. Yeah, I'm excited for him to have a great game. Daniel Berry Sports, happy Tuesday. What's up, everyone? Appreciate you. I saw Albert Knoppers is in the house. Always appreciate Albert. Mark Kennedy, our guy. Pearl Heater in the house, too. Hope you're doing well. Pro in Oklahoma, Kansas. Either way, hopefully the Corgis are keeping you warm. Looks like it might be a cold spell. I'm wondering how Scott's going to do it down there in Atlanta if the South gets hit with the snow that they're talking about. I don't know if it's going to hit them exactly, but I don't know. I don't know if they're ready for it down there. We did want to talk about, Carl, though, of course, of what former teammate of Jarrett Stidham and longtime Bronco tormentor Maxx Crosby had to say about Jarrett Stidham. So he was in an interview, said a lot of things. So check it out over at Mile High Huddle. And he said, didn't have it on my bingo card to have Jarrett Stidham versus Drake May in the AFC Championship. 2 great teams, both coached extremely well. Obviously, with Bo Nix being out, it's tough. He's been their guy for the last 2 years. Everyone is used to him running the system, the whole 9 yards. But I will say, to speak on Jarrett Stidham, he was a teammate of mine. He's a great friend of mine. He's competitive. I witnessed him go against the 49ers Week 17 of 2022. Threw for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. That was one of the top defenses in the league at that time. They'd go on to lose the Super Bowl that season. He's out there slinging the ball, confident, breaking tackles. He's tough as hell. Go against him in practice all the time because he was a scout look quarterback. We got into it all the time because I can't help myself. I'm hitting the backup quarterbacks every time I can. I hit our starting quarterback sometimes and get sent out of practice. It is what it is. Stidham, the one thing I respected the most out of him was that he didn't back down whatsoever. He was talking smack back to me. I was like, okay, I like this guy. I know I can get into the foxhole with him and he's going to fight back. Denver did a great job bringing him in and having him as the backup. The big thing he talked about with this game, though, is that he needs he needs Jarrett Stidham to be himself. Go out there and push the ball and just play within himself. No dink and dunk. He's not going to go in there and just dink and dunk, play it safe. He's going to go out there and play the quarterback and try to help his team win the game. So a lot out there. Shout out to Mike Reese for that quote as well from ESPN NFL Nation covering the Patriots. But yeah, Maxx Crosby loving some Jarrett Stidham. And by all accounts, Jarrett Stidham is just like one of the best dudes in the locker room. People love him and his wife. And not that they don't love Bo, like not take away from Bo. It's just like they brought in some really good folks in that locker room. So they're going to rally around him and be excited to see what he can do.
So I'll say two things here. First, there are two other guys that really love Jarrett Stidham. That's the two offensive-minded guys in this game, Josh McDaniels and Sean Payton. Josh McDaniels was the guy that was there in New England when he was drafted. So you have to know that he was a part of those conversations of, hey, this is a guy I can work with. This is a guy I think I can build up. Then when he went to the Raiders to be the head coach, who did he sign? Jarrett Stidham. And then, of course, here in Denver, Sean Payton's very first signing as a head coach here in Denver, Jarrett Stidham. Then when his contract was up, who does he want to bring back as the true backup? I mean, he had a choice between Zach Wilson and Jarrett Stidham. He brought Stidham back again. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, he has some real trust in this guy. And I do think that there's some people that were commenting when Sean Payton came out and was talking about Bo Nix being hurt. Like, he was upset about that. But when he started talking about Jarrett Stidham, it's almost like he got a smile on his face. Like, this is what I live for. These are the moments. And I almost feel like Sean Payton likes this because it really does become more about him. If Broncos go out there and win and Jarrett Stidham has himself a decent game, people are going to be like, Sean Payton, genius. Look what he was able to do. What, his starting quarterback goes down AFC Championship, and this is the guy that comes in. So I almost think he's excited for the challenge of coming up with the best game plan possible. I'm not saying he wouldn't have done that with Bo Nix, but I just think there's like this extra little bit for him in this. So I'd say that's one thing that really has stuck out to me with this opportunity for him. And having Maxx Crosby, he's one of those guys. He's a no BS guy. Like, he's not going to say something he doesn't believe. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at when the Raiders were trying to do the whole, well, he's hurt, so we're going to put him on IR. He's like, bull crap. I'm not hurt. And he starts posting these videos of, look, I'm out here playing basketball. And so for him to come out and say something like that, it's actually coming from, he believes this. Yeah. And to say it about a rival, that's good to see. So I do expect Jarrett Stidham to have a decent game. I don't think he's going to go out there, throw for 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and, that kind of game. But if he can 200 yards, touchdown, no interceptions, no fumbles, I think if he does that, Broncos stand a very good chance of winning this game.
Yeah, and the bottom line for Maxx Crosby, even though he did pick the Patriots to win, he says that the Broncos have a top defense, good run game, very good offensive line. Stidham just needs to go out there and be himself. Don't go out there trying not to lose. You have to go out there and let it rip. You got to be yourself. So maybe that's spoken from a pass rusher mindset, because you got to not turn the ball over as well and make it harder on your defense and the field position at the end of the day. But I mean, Jarrett they have full confidence in him, and we really just won't know until he's out there, because he hasn't been on this stage, but he's always been a super talented guy. For those of you who've been following the show for a long time, I went down to Columbia, Missouri for the Pro Day, and back in 2019 to go get eyes on Drew Lock, because I'd heard the Broncos had some interest. And I followed Jordan Palmer, the coach of him, and also Sam Darnold and Josh Allen and Drew Lock and Jarrett Stidham at the time, just talking about, quarterback mechanics, trying to get, a soundbite for an article. And he said, like, the guy whose arm is just like unbelievable is Jarrett Stidham. Like, the way the ball comes out of that guy's hand is ridiculous. And he's a really underrated competitive athlete as well. Now, it never has manifested itself into becoming a longtime starter, but Stidham came to the Broncos thinking he was going to be the guy. He was pissed after losing to Bo Nix, which, good teammate at the end of the day, re-signed with Denver despite losing, right? So I must like what's going on here. But it's not just like false hope. We're not out here with the Chiefs Olodukin or whatever, apologies for getting the last name wrong there, or like Trey Lance. Like we're not going out there as a sacrificial lamb. Like this Broncos team believes in Jarrett Stidham, and they believe they can get it done. So I'm a skeptic at heart, but also I'm very analytical, and we just don't know what the value of the variable that is Jarrett Stidham in this equation. So I guess why not believe, right? As I've said before, house money at this point.
And I love the way what you talked about earlier when they interviewed him after losing the quarterback battle. Like there was real emotion there from him. And some people are like, oh, well, that shows he's a poor loser. No, like that kid battled his butt off to try to win that job. And I do think it was closer than people realize. You know, Bo Nix, especially the way he started that season, I'm sure some people in that facility were going, maybe we should have went with Stidham here for at least the first part of the season. Now, thankfully, Bo Nix worked through all that and had a great rookie season. And then the fact that Stidham after that, I mean, Bo Nix and Stidham's wife, they both post lots of things on Instagram and Facebook and all those kind of places. And like they became really good friends. And I think that really shows the character of, like, and you said it earlier, he's one of the best guys in the locker room. Guys gravitate towards him. Even Bo Nix gravitates towards him. They've become really good friends as the season has got, or as these 2 seasons have gone on here. And so I do think that the team's going to work hard to rally around him, to try to give him every chance to go out there and win. And I mean, I'm not saying yet who I'm going to pick to win. Maybe here at the end of the show, when you put me on the spot and I have to make that choice. I'd really love to know what J.K. Dobbins, what his status is. If I for sure know he's playing, I'd probably give the Broncos another couple points. If he's not playing, oh boy, it could be a long game, especially if we don't have a run game going. But we got George Fox saying Stiddy was a running quarterback in college. Let's see how he does. There was one play.
Dual threat is the categorization.
Yeah. In the preseason, there was one play. I think it was like a 3rd and 18, and he took off running, and he had like 3 defenders closing in on him, and he just put on the brakes. You know, it's kind of like Top Gun. I'm just going to put on the brakes, and they're going to fly right on by. And that's exactly what they did. Like all 3 of them just go tumbling into the out of bounds, and then he runs for a first down. So there's at least a little bit of athleticism. It's not Bo Nix level by any means. And I don't think he has quite the instincts. Like part of what makes Bo Nix so dangerous as a runner is he has some really, really good instincts of where to go, where's the open spot to run towards. You know, some guys, they can run in a straight line, great. But if you don't have the instincts to know actually where to run, straight line speed doesn't really matter a whole lot. So I still expect Stiddy to run. I wouldn't be shocked if he had 5 carries in this game.
Designed touches or pull down?
No.
Scramble. Oh.
Scramble. Yeah, scramble. Not 5 designed runs. You're already down to your backup.
I was going to say, I mean, last game of the year, can't hold anything back now, or hopefully not last game. But yeah, it's we'll see. Stidham, he's just not as, I don't think he's as strong as Bo Nix. I don't think he's as twitched up either. Like Bo could change direction and like be in the pocket and decide he's going, like get off, like kind of not an edge rusher. Obviously, have you seen the video of the woman in Dubai, like walking in the street and then seeing the car with the baby in it? It's like backing up and she like bolts off. Like that's kind of Bo Nix getting off. If you haven't seen the video yet, she needs to be signed up as an edge rusher next season. It's ridiculous. Insane get off. But yeah, Stidham, again, I don't think he's going to do anything crazy as a runner, but if they play man coverage and he's got space, he can do it. I think he can buy enough time. One thing I do think about Stidham is that I really do imagine it's going to be a little bit more airing out in this game. I think we're going to see some more testing of the defense vertically. And I don't want to say it's going to be a Jameis Winston experience with some bad interceptions down the field, but I do think he's going to hunt. And we'll see what that means for the Broncos on the wide receiver front. We were waiting to hear back about Pat Bryant still following the concussion on that second series of the game. Troy Franklin with a hamstring. From what I've heard, Pat Bryant, maybe Troy Franklin wouldn't expect. But you also got Mims and Cortland Sutton as well. So we'll see. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the lines of scrimmage and the turnover battle, though.
Yeah, like I said, it's the other guys have to step up. Offensive line, you've got to take it to another level. I know they've been great. And they did a really good job against the Bills. I mean, there were a lot of plays that Bo Nix had plenty of time back there to do whatever he wanted. Now, run game, I think, is where they've got to step up a little bit more, open up a couple. I mean, and part of it is our running backs. Whose fault is it? Is it the running backs for not going to the right place and missing the opportunities, or is it the offensive line's not blocking things up well? I think it's a combination of both. Like there's some run plays where guys are just running straight through, making the play in the backfield. Running back has no chance. But there's other plays where there were opportunities and the running backs missed it. So can't have those kind of things. Like I said, wide receivers have to catch it. And you're right. I think Stidham, he's not so much of a check down guy. He's not trying to go horizontal and get the yards after catch. He's going to push the ball down the field. I could see Evan Ingram having a decent game in this one. If Pat Bryant plays, I think he'll be another one because he'll want to attack the middle of the field. Hopefully he's out there. And hopefully he's wearing one of those Guardian caps this time. I know they look silly. My son always makes – every time I point one out, he's just laughing his head off. You know, it makes me always think of Spaceballs and the giant helmet the guy was wearing. You know, that's what it makes me think every time. It makes me laugh. But he needs it because we need him on the field. He's a great player, big-time playmaker, doesn't drop the ball. And, you know, that game, I think everybody will point towards the Raiders versus 49ers game for Stidham because that's his big game. He had 360 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That could be a little bit what we see here. Like I said, it is a little bit of hero ball at times. He's not afraid to go out there and take a chance. And sometimes it works out great, and you go out there and you're the hero of the game. And by golly, I hope that's what happens here. But there could also be a couple throws you're going, oh my gosh, Bo Nix would never have done that.
Yeah. It is what it is. He's the quarterback now, and Denver's just 2 wins away from immortality. Just 2 wins. Hard, but one at a time. I don't know if I highlight it, but good to see a 6'7", 6'3" Mark always coming in. Thank you, everybody, for clicking the thumbs up and everything on the way in, too. We also got Zach Phillips coming in. I haven't heard anything about this. Busy day working on fatherhood. But rumors about Bo coming back if we win, I'm guessing that's unsubstantiated. He had just had his surgery today, and everything coming out was 4 to 6 months, and like really optimistic for the off season, but being back following surgery on a broken ankle. And to be honest, like given Bo's superpower with the athleticism and avoiding the sacks, like if he's playing on 1 foot or 1 leg, is he better than Jarrett Stidham at that point? I mean, I don't know. So yeah, I can't imagine that that's reality. But if somebody has something, hit me up and prove me wrong. It's not come across my timeline.
Even if it was just like a hairline fracture, optimistic would be 6 weeks recovery. Broken bone, 6 to 8 weeks is what they usually say. But then we're talking about that. That's just getting the bone healed. Then you got to think of recovery time to actually rebuild the muscle and everything else because you're not putting any weight on that ankle. And like I said, I really can't see any way that he would even be close to being ready. You could maybe numb that ankle up, but that's your planting foot. You kind of want to feel it. You kind of want to know where that is on the field. And I don't think that we could hope that he's going to be back. It's Jarrett Stidham. We're going to have to get behind him. Crazier things have happened. I mean, backup quarterbacks have won the Super Bowl a few times, so it's not completely unheard of. But, I mean, the odds are stacked against the Broncos for sure. Yeah. There is a reason the Patriots are favored now, and pretty much most everybody outside of Denver are picking the Patriots at this point. Maybe Adam Rank, just because I think it's almost like a running joke now that he picks the Broncos. Yep. Yeah, every single time. But still, I think that the Broncos have the players. They do. That it wasn't just it's not like the Bills where it's Josh Allen. You got Cook in the backfield. You got a good offensive line, and there's not really much else where you do need Josh Allen to be Superman to win, especially playoff games. I think of like Peyton Manning with the Colts. There were so many seasons where it was him, a couple weapons. The offensive line was good, but was it because Peyton Manning was so good at getting the ball out, or was it that they were actually good? Defensively, usually they were like 20th to 25th in ranking for defense. And, when he got to the playoffs, it just wasn't enough. And we're here in Denver. You've got a defense that can go out there and win a game for you. You've got an offensive line that can go out there and take over a game if you need them to. You've got some okay weapons to work with.
Mm-hmm.
They can have some good games. Marvin Mims, what a game for that guy.
Heck yeah. My X Factor,
take over.
If you remember, I was pounding the table. I'm like, this is the guy. I thought my X Factor was gone after the first play of the game. But credit to him. He was hurt on the last play, that touchdown, just to give the Broncos a 3-point lead in that first one. And they don't win this game without him.
Yeah. So shout out to him. Great to see him go out there and have a great receiving game. And he's been a big time catch guy. I mean, you think about the Bengals where he had 2 big touchdowns last year. You think about
Giants game this year.
Yeah, the Giants game with coming up with the huge catch. There's actually a couple of them in that game that he came up with. So it seems like when you need the absolute biggest catch in the fourth quarter, it's not always Cortland Sutton. It's many times Marvin Mims being the guy to get the ball thrown his way. So shout out to him. Hopefully he can really step up in this game for Stidham as well. You got Brandon Johnson back now with the Broncos. Did you see that?
Guaranteed ringer. Yeah, we got a ringer.
Right. That's right. Never know. Maybe that guy goes out there and becomes a hero. He made some really circus catches when he was here in Denver. It wasn't very consistent, but every once in a while he just make a catch go, okay, maybe we got something here.
Yeah, we'll see. I would imagine Bandy / Elijah Moore probably higher in the pecking order before that happens, but you never know. You never know. So, yeah, thank you, Zach, for the comment, of course, and we're going to start wrapping it up here. We just do not know about Jarrett Stidham, but what we do know is that this team has belief in him and are going to rally around him and Bo Nix as well. And again, I wasn't honestly, and maybe this is just me getting older or something, I don't know, Carl, but like after the news of Bo Nix being out for the season, broken ankle hit, my thought wasn't, oh, the season's done for the Broncos. So maybe confidence in Jarrett Stidham to some extent. But I just felt so bad. I still feel so bad for Bo Nix to get to this point. All the doubters, I mean, very close to the pinnacle of your professional aspirations, goals as a quarterback, and all the work, unbelievable amount of work that he's put in to get to this point and have it taken away. Like obviously the Broncos aren't here without him this season, but I'm devastated for him. I know he's a very strong faith as well. Him and his wife, like the picture after the game where people coming up to greet him and talk with him and sit with him. But I just, again, win, loss, my heart's broken for him. And I've been, I've never been like Bo Nix, best quarterback of all time. But man, he's been really great this season, franchise caliber quarterback, and to have the rug pulled like this, it just breaks my heart for him. So going to be excited to see him back next season, but really important to have perspective on, the reality of where the Broncos are at. Very much in large part, it's the Broncos at the end of the day. It's not the Denver Bo Nixes, but because of what he's done for this team. So I just feel terrible for him.
Yeah. But like I said, the nice thing is we've seen this year, Bo Nix has had some bad games and the team has still won. So it's not just been him having to carry this team to get him to where they are now. And that's why I have at least a little bit of hope that the Broncos can pull something out this weekend and maybe get to the Super Bowl. I mean, I picked, before the playoffs ever started, I picked Broncos versus Rams. My son was a big Bears fan. I don't know why. I think he just likes their uniforms and saying bear for some reason. But so when the Rams won, I almost had to go wake him up. My wife stopped me because I wanted to go say, haha, my team won, yours didn't. But I'm a little petty sometimes with my kids. But no, I still think that's very much in play because the Broncos, like I said, they've got a good enough team around Jarrett Stidham where he doesn't have to go out there and be the greatest quarterback ever for them to go win this game against the Patriots. And I'm glad you were talking about the tickets earlier. Sounds like it's going to be a very, very pro Broncos crowd. that place will be rocking. Maybe we can get a couple penalties, get a couple sacks because that crowd's going crazy. And that ends up being maybe the biggest difference in the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, I'm still excited for it. It feels like, after that happened, the injury news, what a roller coaster, at the highest highs to just, how's that even possible? You're lying. But team needs everybody to rally, all the people that stands, and be cheering when the other team's in the huddle. And Drake May has not faced – I don't think Drake May has faced a road environment that he's going to see in this game. I mean, he did play like a Thursday night game, I believe, in Buffalo, which would have been pretty raucous to some extent. But other than that, I cannot think of an environment that's going to be similar to what Mile High offers. And I mean, we just saw Josh Allen, what he did on the road. CJ Stroud, what he did on the road. Those opportunities are going to be there to take the ball away. It's just, are you going to be the team that comes away with the ball in that 50-50 pile, or the ball makes the play on the football as it's batted in the air? I mean, that's playoff football at the end of the day. The margins are so small, but gotta capitalize because the opportunities will be there. Speaking of opportunities, though, we got two coming in here. Appreciate you over on YouTube with the super sticker. I hope you're doing well. One final thing I did want to say in here before we get out of here. Obviously, we're lamenting about Bo Nix being out and just feeling terrible for him. Even if Bo Nix was healthy, this game isn't an automatic victory, right? So like Bo Nix being in there, being out like that, it hurts the Broncos' chances. I think it's gone from like a 7-point swing in this one. So the book's respecting Bo Nix, unknown with Jarrett Stidham, but not a guarantee for the Broncos to win this one as well if Bo Nix was healthy and Jarrett was, the backup still. So I'm hoping that regardless, if the Broncos do end up losing, that people can give Jarrett a little bit of grace, I guess, there as well, because it's a really hard situation to come into, and there's no guarantee the Broncos even win if Bo is healthy.
Yeah, the Patriots are a good team. They've got a good all-around roster. I've got to give it to Mike Vrabel. Is one of my favorite coaches. Hate that he went to the Patriots, but I love the fact that he was able to take a Titans team who's been at times the laughing stock of the NFL, and he was able to take them to the number 1 seed in the AFC. Yep. Had them beat the Patriots in the playoffs, if I remember right. Wasn't he the one that was?
I think so.
Tom Brady's last throw, the pick was. I think that was against the Titans, and so the fact that he was able to do that with that team, and like Ryan Tannehill is his quarterback, just shows the quality of coach that he is. So they're going to be ready to play. Like I said, I do think this home crowd is going to be overwhelming for some of those players. They've got a young roster. I think this is going to be a little bit of a shock compared to being at home for the last few weeks here for them. Yeah. And hopefully that's enough to shake them and cause a bad play or two here. And like I said, if Broncos can really capitalize on those situations, then I do think the Broncos stand a really good chance. They are going to have to force a couple turnovers for sure. I don't think you can have this be you've got to be on the plus side in the turnover differential in this one. And thankfully, Broncos finally figured out how to turn the ball over. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah, gotta love it. And I don't typically boot people, but Carlos Wheeler is getting close there. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. Maybe it's a Patriots fan in here, but hoping for no injuries. And I mean, you guys know I'm a big fan of Drake May and Travion Henderson. I mean, God, that was my guy in the last class. So we'll see what happens here. I'm expecting a good game and hopefully some very physical, clean, and fun football out there as well. But it should be a great one. So, Carl, any final thoughts? We don't have you again until we know the result of the game. Are you ready to give a score? I won't hold you to it, but if you have one,
You know what? I'll go ahead and give mine here. I do expect the defense to have a great game. I think that matchup for Bonito coming out on the edge, I think our guys in the middle are going to have themselves quite the game as well. And I think they're going to force at least a couple turnovers in this one. So I'm going to say final score, Broncos 24, Patriots 20 in this one. It's going to be close. But I think I think Bo Nix is going to rub off on him You know, they've been spending a lot of time together. I think he's going to have some ice in his veins. Broncos figure out a way to win it there at the end.
Yeah. I'm not going to give mine yet either. I don't typically like going against Vegas when I can, but I don't know. I'm hoping that it happens. So we'll see. But appreciate everyone coming in here. And yeah, a lot of fun today. Thanks to all the super chats coming in. Michael Ronquillo, of course, David Papa Bear, good to see you. E-Dude Music coming in here. What's the music of choice, E-Dude? What are we listening to? What play? Ralph coming in here, good to see you. Like I said, Michael, of course, as well. George Fox, appreciate you. And the $9.99 super sticker from Tutu Datub coming in here. So hopefully I nailed that one. Man, really excited for the game. Shout out to Indiana, too. Hoosiers, your college football champion, 16-0. Fun game last night as well. Kind of coming back to defense and turnovers, special teams and turnovers, making the change in the game. So let's see if it can happen again this week. But appreciate you, Carl. Make sure you guys are following us on Twitter at Mile High Huddle. Of course, you can follow us also I'm at Nick Kendell MHH. Carl's at Carl Dumler MHH. Over at facebook.com/Mile High Huddle and facebook.com/Mile High Huddle pod. And as the ticker says there underneath, as you can see, number one way to listen to us and support us is liking, subscribing, and sharing over on YouTube. If you haven't done that yet, what the heck are you doing? Stop what you're doing. Go there right now. Like, subscribe, share. Appreciate all you guys. It's been a fun season, a winning season, no matter what happened on Sunday. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a very, very good game. So appreciate you guys. Have a good one. I'll see you with Scott tomorrow morning if you want to talk a little bit Falcons. And if not, Friday morning, of course, with Eric again. So have a good one, everyone. Go Stidham. Go Broncos.